In this video, we're going to look at the ways how to increase dopamine levels and its sensitivity in your brain. Dopamine is your unlimited source of motivation. What specific instruments can you use to increase the dopamine level in your brain? Today we're going to dive into this specific topic and discover more about it. You're going to have complete clarity on how to use dopamine to your advantage to open this source of unlimited motivation that you can put into more hours of quality work throughout the day.
Hi, my name is Vlad Demuk. I'm a biohacker mind founder, and I specialize at helping people to achieve their peak performance through optimizing their health. In this video, we're going to talk about how you can fix your dopamine and how you can increase its amount in the brain, its sensitivity, etc. If you want to find out all the studies that I mentioned in those presentations, you can go by the link below. Find out the text article, text version of this web video in text format, and also you can find the presentation that is mentioned in this specific video. And then you can go there and click to the links to all the studies that I mentioned in this video. So let's dive into this topic and find out more about how you can increase the dopamine level in your brain in the natural way. So let's get started and talk about how to increase your dopamine with the simple ways. The plan of this presentation is the following. We're gonna start by looking at the definition of what dopamine is. Then we need to learn how the dopamine brain sensitivity works. Then we look at what natural ways can be used to increase the dopamine. The very important dopamine mindset shift. Then we'll look at specific nootropic stack that can be used to increase the dopamine level. And then we're gonna move to the conclusion. First of all, what is dopamine? Dopamine is a neurotransmitter in the brain that's responsible for motivation. The high level of dopamine in the brain correlates with higher desire to get the reward, staying focused and productive to get what you want. Dopamine is the main neurotransmitter that is responsible for addiction development in any form, either positive or negative. So you can use dopamine to your advantage. In order to get the most out of your dopamine, you need to increase your brain sensitivity to it. The dopamine receptors are more susceptible to it when you're doing more activities that are producing very little of it. For example, simple work like walking or reading a book will not produce as much of a dopamine spike as eating a cake or playing video games or drinking alcohol does. As with any situation you give to your brain, at first you will experience a lot of pleasure, but eventually after many times of repetition, the brains get used to it, even numb to it. I can illustrate this with alcohol. At the beginning you need little to get you going, but after a period of time you start to need many shots to get the same effect and feel the boost. This is how your brain adapts to the stimulus that is constantly triggers the dopamine release, and the things that were pleasurable at the beginning becomes less and less over time. The other very important thing that you need to understand is that your brain builds its own dopamine standards regarding any activity you're doing. If your brain gets used to the food that you're currently eating with spices and sauces, you're not gonna like simple meals of rice and chicken, and they can even start to feel disgusting. But if you starved for the period of 5 days without any food, simple rice with chicken without spices will be one of the best foods you've ever tried. The same analogy, if you go to a prison cell and stay there for a week, reading the book will be much more pleasurable due to the fact that you're very bored and have no other sources of getting the dopamine to your brain, and your brain becomes very susceptible to the dopamine. To increase dopamine sensitivity, you need to decrease all the activities that spike your dopamine level too high. Examples can be sugary foods, video games, social media, alcohol, etc. You can do it for a short period of time, for 1 to 3 weeks. Then it is gonna lead to your brain desire to seek the reward in simple things that are not gonna bring instant pleasure here and now. This is gonna trick your brain into liking to pursue the long-term goals, which are very important in business. There are some activities that you need to avoid in order to increase your dopamine level. And there are phone, social media, stimulants, even coffee if you can, sugary foods, alcohol, music, drugs, and extreme socializing. And the activities that you can easily do are meditation, walking, exercising, making notes, and journaling. It is the very important mindset shift regarding dopamine is that you need to learn to enjoy the process of work itself rather than expecting that the world will do it for you. The process of work as it is must be pleasurable for you to do, even the hardest work as it is required to achieve success in your business. You need to remember the final point, but dopamine is about getting it, is about being in the process of working to get it. So what specific nootropics and supplements you can use to increase your level and sensitivity to dopamine? But before, let's take a look at this scheme on how dopamine production works. At the beginning, you'll get the amino acid L-tyrosine from food or in the form of supplement, and then it is converted to L-dopa. Then more potent amino acid, the more potent amino acid easily converts into dopamine, and then norepinephrine, which works as a stimulant. So the first nootropic that I recommend using is L-tyrosine. As I said, it is an amino acid or a building block of proteins in simple terms that helps our body to build dopamine and noradrenaline further down the chain. L-tyrosine has a mild stimulating effect and better to be used in the first half of the day. I recommend using 500 to 700 milligrams of L-tyrosine 2 hours before and after the meal on an empty stomach, since it is going to help with its absorption and going to make it much more efficient to use. You're going to experience much more motivation to do the work, focus, and enthusiasm. The second more powerful stimulant from the scheme is L-dopa. It is formed from the amino acid L-tyrosine and it has more strong and potent nootropic effect than L-tyrosine does. But with that also has more side effects like dizziness, nausea, and fatigue. I recommend taking 120 to 240 milligrams of L-dopa per day, preferably in the first half of the day with the meal. The conclusion is that dopamine is the neurotransmitter that has a strong impact on motivation and focus, and you need to pay attention and control its sensitivity. In order to do it, you need to avoid any highly stimulating activities and make your life as boring as possible to make harder activities bring you more satisfaction. The nootropics that you could use to have an impact on dopamine levels are L-tyrosine and L-dopa. Thank you for your time.
That was it. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel. And if you want to work one-to-one with me, you can go by the link below and book a call with me, where I'm going to provide you with the best information regarding your health and performance optimization. And I'm also going to support you through all your journey. The information that I'm going to provide there is much more unique and advanced than you can see in all my videos. And this is gonna be life-changing not only for your health but your life overall. I wish you all the best.